problems that arises in the human management, and that is if there is a corporate misfunctions, I mean corporate misculture kind of thing. Like we have seen the Tata Chorus problems arising in the Europe. There's a corporate cultures gap. And I need to conclude before I hand over to others speaker that in short, everyone should be benefited. Of course, the shareholders is the first and last interested parties to get a direct benefit. But the problem today is that shareholders have very less say in the share value movement in the stock market. Neither they can push up these share prices also, nor they have an ability to pull down the activities, the stock prices. So I should conclude within a sentence that it should create a value addition not only to the corporate houses involved in this merger acquisition, but also the shareholders and in particular and in general the public where the business is running. I'm grateful and thank you.
I would like to request someone to speak first on the concept in brief and the rules and regulations in place, if any. Then further we can discuss all about the things going on.
Actually, it depends on preparation. So you must have given it earlier. Okay. Now, okay. Nobody is prepared. Anybody?
As Sharma is dealing with the subject as a teacher, I think he may have to say something. Okay.
No, let him speak first. Then he can take up that as well in his speech. Now I request Mr. Avinash Sharma to deliver his speech and enlighten us.
Thank you very much. I will be happy if you interject me as soon as you have a point or you have any query regarding that. My presentation is basically mergers, but I'm looking, when I say merger, I mean from economic point of view. Merger from competition point of view means merger, acquisitions, takeover, joint ventures, amalgamation. Though from pure law point of view, it all have different connotations. As far as your query is concerned, in India, the laws which is governing merger and all these things which I have mentioned, first is a Companies Act. Then if you are listed in the stock exchange, you have a SEBI, and we all know SEBI has so many guidelines which is to be complied with, that what will be the consequence if you are acquiring a 5% or 10% or 25%. So all these things are there. Even in the Depository Act, all these laws are there. So it's an entire gamut of merger and acquisition. I'm looking in my paper from competition law point of view. As Majumdar has rightly pointed out, we have a monopoly, oligopoly situation, and he has discussed about Tata Chorus, Vodafone, Hutchison SR, all these cases. What I will be doing, I will be presenting what would be the consequence from a competition law point of view. A few preliminary things regarding the competition law as we have in India. So far, before Competition Act of 2002, we don't have any law governing merger and acquisition from competition law point of view. So we have a Raghavan committee. Before that, we have a MRTP Act. We all know, we all practitioner knows that what MRTP commission was there, but it was a very, very ineffective. So in 2002, we have a Competition Act. As we have in the states as well as in the European Union, both transatlantic jurisdictions. So Indian competition is basically the, the hybrid model of both these transatlantic jurisdictions. As any of the competition law, it's dealing with two things. One is unilateral effect, unilateral behavior of a firm. When I say firm, firm means company or small company or partnership firm or whosoever is in the business. So that's a unilateral. For example, I will just give an example. Say we have in India companies Coke and Pepsi. I'm looking from a point of view, what will happen if tomorrow both companies trying to merge? What will be the consequence? It will create monopoly in the market. So what? They are entitled to do so. If we don't have a Competition Act, nothing under either the SEBI or in the Companies Act which is preventing us to do that kind of thing. But in order to prevent that distorted things which is going on in the market, you require a competition law. So Indian competition law deals with majorly three issues. First, cartel, that we call anti-competitive agreements, wherein 3-4 competitors in a saturated market, say in the steel industry or say in telecom industry, that all the players are forming an association and they are deciding that from tomorrow we will be charging tariff rate 2 rupees per meter. Or recently we are saying in the aviation sector that all these airlines industry, they are saying that we will decrease or increase prices. So that has not yet been examined from competition law point of view. So the first rims of the competition law is a unilateral effects. That's anti-competitive agreements. Second is abuse of dominance. Say in a market, because of very peculiar situation, you can have just one player in the market. That may be a very big player and that may be enjoying dominant position in the market, right? So there is every possibility, because if you look that form, they are the profit maximizer. As a corporate entity, they should not be indeed concerned about the welfares. They are trying to monopolize the things in their own favor. So they may abuse their dominance. So the Competition Act says dominant position is not bad. It's basically the abuse of dominance which is to be prohibited, which is to be regulated by the Commission. Third limb says merger. So far, even if you look at the MRTP Act, we don't have any provision which deals with a merger. Now, if you look at this Act, so far in India, in Competition Act, we have an enforcement provision qua cartels, enforcement provisions qua abuse of dominance, but so far we have not yet started merger regulation because of a lot of concern from the industry. In 2009, soon after the passing of this Act, in 2002, we have a Competition Commission of India, which has taken over all the work which was being done by the MRTPC. And the last year, we also have a Competition Appellate Tribunal, which will be dealing with all those appeal which is arising out from the decision of the Competition Commission of India. And the final authority is the Supreme Court. So these three mechanisms is there, institutional mechanisms, as I say, under the Competition Act. Now merger, the issue is what kind of merger should be scrutinized by the Competition Commission. That's the first primary concern which industry has, because the industry fear that if you have to take approval from the Competition Commission of India, again it's a bureaucracy, you have to take one more formality. And in the era of privatization, globalization, we should not create more and more regulation, which is to be acquired. So the Competition Act talks about that if the net turnover of these two companies put together is more than 3,000 crore, or the net asset of target company is more than 500 crore, then these two entities, before going into the merger, they have to notify to the Competition Commission, right? So it's a mandatory. The moment you are approaching that threshold, you have to approach the Competition Commission of India. That we propose to have this kind of merger, A and B. Say Pepsi and Coke, they want to come together, they have to notify to the Competition Commission of India, right? Now the Competition Commission of India, because due to the concern from the industry, the Act says the regulator, the Competition Commission will examine that and will come to a prima facie conclusion within 30 days. Whether there is any competition concern or not. For example, if a steel company is acquiring a software company, there is no competition concern because it won't create a monopoly in the market. But if say Wipro is acquiring Infosys, both are having in the same IT industry, it may have some competition concern. So within 30 days, the Competition Commission will scrutinize those applications and it will give a preliminary ruling within 30 days. After 30 days, if it comes to the conclusion it's having indeed some competition concern, it requires very elaborate investigation and inquiry by the Competition Commission of India. And the Competition Commission of India, we have a DG, Directorate General Investigation, who is going to do all these investigations. Most important question here is, we have a competition commission since 2002 and we are in 2010, but still we have not yet enforced the merger provisions. What can be the possible justification? Because if we look at the competition law worldwide, we have a competition law in more than 100 countries, and every country, almost every country is having merger kind of provision. Argument which is coming from the industry, including I have seen from the something from which is going on in Bombay Stock Exchange and some association which is in Bombay, they are arguing that at the moment, if the matter goes to the second stage of investigation, after 30 days, CCI is deciding that yes, we will examine it, then it will go to the phase 2. And in phase 2, the maximum time limit is 210 days. So industry is arguing, company A and B, which is in the process of merger, they are saying if the competition commission will take 6 months in order to clear this merger, and we require so many clearance from the SEBI, we have to notify to the stock exchange, we have to do so many other formalities. And if the competition authority is taking 210 days, the entire exercise may get futile. The target company or acquired company, they may look into the other partners. If we look at the proposal of this Airtel and MTM thing of the South Africa and so many other transactions, I won't be going into much into that. So it's a huge process. So industry argument is either you minimize it first. We can't minimize. At the moment, Competition Commission of India doesn't have necessary manpower, so they can't actually do the scrutiny within, say, 30 days or 210 days. So now there is a proposal which is pending before the Minister of Corporate Affairs to reduce that 210 days to 180 days. Because most of the international practice is 180 days. If you look at, they say, for example, European Commission practice, that's a 180 days. So this is basically from competition law point of view. What I will be doing further is, my paper actually is examining the Indian competition merger provision in a comparative perspective. I am basically analyzing how Indian law is convergent or divergent with two well-established jurisdictions, that's the US or EU. So when I'm looking into the Indian Act, it provides a 5-step process which is to be followed by the authorities when they are looking into whether this particular merger should go ahead or not, whether we should stop this merger or we should go ahead with this merger. First task is to define market. When I say market, it doesn't mean a proper market. We have a, say, Connaught Place or Sarojini. That's not the market. Market means the goods which these two entities, acquirer and acquiring company, are into. Say, Coke, Pepsi. I'm just taking an imaginary hypothetical situation. Both are in soft drink industry. So if there is a proposal to acquire the both, then the first job of the competition authorities is to look into the market. These two are in the software. What's their market share? Both are, say, 50-50 if we assume that, or both are having more than 90% market in India. So the relevant market is throughout India, their market percentage. Then they will look into the what are the other competitors who are in the market. Say there may be Campa Cola, I think it's not there anymore, but there may be other soft drink industries which is operating in that particular market. So that's market share. Now, next job would be what could be the adverse implication of that merger. It may be that in this transaction, if the Competition Commission come to a conclusion that if these two entities merge and their market share will be more than, say, 50%, anything which is more than 50% worldwide is regarded as very much threat to the competition in order to have a fair market. So anything more than 50, it may create problem for the competition in the market. But at the same time, our Act provides you may have a two situation. When you are merging, what exactly you are trying to do? You are trying to synergize